Night falls quickly over the dry savanna of southern Mozambique. The final light disappears behind a line of thorn trees, leaving the landscape beneath a deep blue sky. During the day, the heat was almost unbearable. Now, as the temperature begins to fall, the ground releases the warmth it has stored for hours. This is when the hidden world awakens. Beetles crawl from beneath stones. Rodents leave their burrows in search of seeds. Small reptiles move silently through the grass, careful not to attract the attention of the predators that rule the darkness. The dry season has lasted longer than usual. Several shallow waterholes have already disappeared. Plants that once covered the plains have turned yellow and brittle. Food is becoming harder to find, and every night forces the animals to travel farther and take greater risks. Beneath the exposed roots of an old marula tree, something begins to move. A female honey badger slowly opens her eyes. For most of the day, she has remained hidden inside a narrow underground chamber, protected from the sun and from larger predators. Her body is strong, low to the ground, and covered in thick fur. A pale stripe runs across her back, standing out against the darkness of the burrow. But tonight, her strength is being tested. She has not eaten a full meal in 2 days. Behind her, deeper inside the chamber, a young cub remains curled against the dirt wall. It is still too small to follow her on a dangerous hunt. For now, its survival depends entirely on the food its mother can bring back. The female rises and moves toward the entrance. She stops before emerging. Her nose lifts into the air. The savanna carries hundreds of scents. Dry earth, insects, old bones, distant antelope, and the faint presence of a jackal moving somewhere beyond the trees. But there is no immediate danger. The honey badger steps outside. She wastes no time. Her powerful claws tear into the ground as she investigates a cluster of roots. Within moments, she uncovers a nest of beetle larvae and eats them quickly. It is food, but not enough. The effort required to dig has already consumed much of the energy the small meal provides. She moves on. Honey badgers are famous for their fearlessness, but courage alone does not keep an animal alive. Survival depends on patience, experience, and the ability to recognize when a threat is worth confronting. Tonight, the female needs something larger. Several kilometers away, another hunter emerges from a damaged termite mound. A Mozambique spitting cobra slides silently through the opening. Its body is nearly invisible against the dark ground. Every movement is controlled, its scales brushing softly across the sand. Unlike the honey badger, the cobra cannot overpower its enemies with strength. It survives through stillness, speed, and one of the most effective defensive weapons in Africa, venom. When threatened, this cobra can raise the front of its body, spread its hood, and spray venom toward the eyes of an attacker. The venom is designed to cause intense pain and confusion, giving the snake precious seconds to escape. But tonight, the cobra is not searching for a fight. It is searching for food. Its tongue moves in and out, collecting chemical traces from the air. Somewhere nearby, a field rat has crossed the open ground. The scent is fresh. The cobra follows. The rat does not know that it is already being hunted. It moves between patches of grass, gathering fallen seeds, and stopping frequently to listen. Its ears detect the distant call of an owl, but the snake makes almost no sound. The cobra is getting closer. At the same time, the honey badger reaches a shallow depression where rodents often search for food. She lowers her head and finds several tracks pressed into the dust. One set belongs to the rat. The other is a long, winding trail left by the cobra. The honey badger pauses. She recognizes the scent of a snake. For many animals, this would be a warning to retreat. For her, it may represent an opportunity. Snakes are dangerous prey, but they are also rich in energy. Exactly what she needs to feed herself and return to her cub. She begins following the trail. Ahead of her, the rat disappears beneath a cluster of thorny bushes. The cobra changes direction and follows. Seconds later, the honey badger reaches the same spot. 3 animals are now moving toward the same patch of darkness. One is searching for seeds. One is searching for the rat. And one may soon discover that the greatest meal of the night is not the prey it first expected to find. The savanna becomes silent. Then, from beneath the bushes, a dry branch suddenly snaps. The branch breaks beneath the field rat's weight. For a fraction of a second, the small animal freezes. Its body is hidden beneath the thorn bush, but the sound has betrayed its position. The rat lifts its head, listening for movement. It hears nothing. The night seems calm again, but the silence is deceptive. Only a few meters away, the Mozambique spitting cobra lies flattened against the ground. Its head remains still while its tongue collects traces from the air. The rat's scent is now stronger. The snake does not need to see its prey clearly. Chemical signals reveal where it has passed and how recently it moved. The cobra advances. Each movement is slow and deliberate. Its body slides between dry leaves without disturbing them. It is close enough to strike, but the rat remains protected by a barrier of tangled roots. The snake waits. Patience is one of its greatest weapons. The rat eventually lowers its guard and begins searching for seeds again. It moves toward a narrow opening beneath the bush. The cobra prepares to attack. Then the ground trembles. The vibrations are faint, but unmistakable. Something heavier is approaching. The cobra immediately abandons its hunting posture. Its head turns toward the disturbance as the honey badger emerges from the darkness. The rat reacts first. It races out from beneath the bush, choosing speed over concealment. The sudden movement attracts the honey badger's attention. She lunges forward, cutting off the rat's escape before it can reach another burrow. The chase lasts only seconds. With one fast movement, the honey badger captures the rodent. The meal is small, but valuable. She carries it beneath the thorn bush and begins to feed. For the first time that night, her hunger starts to weaken, but she is not alone. The cobra remains hidden less than 2 meters away. The snake has lost its prey, but hunger is no longer its greatest concern. The honey badger now stands between the cobra and the termite mound it uses as shelter. Beyond the mound, the open savanna offers little protection from owls, jackals, and other nocturnal hunters. The safest path leads directly past the feeding mammal. For several moments, neither animal moves toward the other. The honey badger tears into the rat, unaware of the cobra's exact position. Her thick fur and loose skin offer protection during many confrontations, but her face remains vulnerable. A direct spray of venom into the eyes could leave her blinded and defenseless. The cobra understands none of this in the way a human would. It does not plan revenge. It does not hate the animal that stole its meal. It responds only to distance, movement, and danger. The snake begins to retreat, sliding backward through the leaves. A dry stem moves. The honey badger stops eating. Her head rises immediately. She has heard something. Her sense of smell is powerful, and the odor of the snake is unmistakable. It is fresh, stronger than the trail she followed across the sand. The honey badger leaves the remains of the rat and steps deeper beneath the bush. The cobra becomes motionless. Camouflage is now its first defense. Its dark brown scales blend with the soil, while irregular markings break up the outline of its body. In the weak moonlight, even an experienced predator could mistake it for a root or a fallen branch. The honey badger searches carefully. She pushes aside leaves with her claws and lowers her nose toward the ground. She can smell the snake, but the odor seems to surround the entire area. The cobra has crossed the ground several times while hunting, leaving overlapping trails. The predator knows its prey is close. It simply cannot determine where. The cobra begins moving again, aiming for the termite mound. The honey badger turns toward the sound. For an instant, the snake's body appears between two roots. The honey badger advances. The cobra stops and raises the front of its body slightly, but it does not yet spread its hood. This is an early warning. If the mammal retreats, the confrontation may still be avoided. The honey badger continues forward. She has hunted snakes before. Her attacks depend on speed and positioning. Rather than approaching the head directly, she circles, searching for an angle from which the cobra cannot strike effectively. The snake follows every movement. Its head turns with the honey badger, maintaining a defensive line between its face and the approaching predator. The honey badger moves left, the cobra pivots. She moves right. Again, the cobra follows. Neither animal has attacked, but the contest has already begun. The honey badger suddenly charges. The cobra rises, spreads its hood, and releases a sharp warning hiss. The sound stops the mammal for only a moment. She steps closer. The cobra now holds nearly a third of its body above the ground. Its hood appears larger in the darkness, designed to intimidate an attacker before venom must be used. The honey badger lowers her head. She is close enough to strike, but the cobra has another defense, one that does not require its fangs to touch the predator. The snake adjusts the angle of its head. The honey badger takes one final step. Then 2 narrow streams of venom shoot through the air. Aimed directly at her eyes, the venom crosses the darkness almost invisibly. The honey badger jerks her head aside, but not fast enough. Part of the spray strikes the thick fur along her cheek. Several droplets land dangerously close to her left eye. She recoils, rubbing her face against the dry ground in an instinctive attempt to remove the burning substance. The cobra does not wait to see whether the attack was successful. It lowers its hood and moves immediately toward the termite mound. For the snake, the venom is not a declaration of war. It is an escape mechanism. Every drop used against the honey badger is venom that cannot be used later against prey or another predator. The opening of the mound is only a few meters away. The cobra moves quickly, its body flowing across the sand in powerful curves. Behind it, the honey badger shakes her head repeatedly. Her eye waters, and her vision on one side has become blurred. For a brief moment, the confrontation appears to be over. The snake reaches the mound. It disappears through a narrow crack just as the honey badger turns toward it. The female remains still beneath the thorn bush, breathing heavily. Every instinct should tell her to leave. She has already captured the rat. She has food waiting only a few steps away. Continuing the pursuit means risking another spray or a direct bite. But hunger is not the only force controlling her. The snake has entered an underground structure close to the path leading back to her den. If the cobra remains nearby, the next animal to discover it could be her inexperienced cub. The honey badger approaches the termite mound. She smells the entrance, then begins to dig. The outer wall is hard, strengthened by years of compacted earth and insect-made material. Yet the badger's claws are built for breaking into burrows, insect nests, and underground chambers. Each strike tears away another piece of the mound. Inside, the cobra feels the vibrations. The tunnel is narrow and almost completely dark. It moves deeper, searching for another exit, but several passages have collapsed during the dry season. Behind it, the sound of digging grows louder. The honey badger breaks through the first wall and pushes her head into the opening. She cannot see the snake, but its scent is trapped inside the tunnels. She continues excavating. The cobra reaches a fork. One passage descends into a sealed chamber. The other bends sharply and leads toward a hidden opening on the opposite side of the mound. The snake chooses the second path. Outside, the honey badger tears through another layer. Dust fills the air and settles across her face. Her irritated eye remains partly closed, forcing her to rely even more heavily on smell and hearing. She believes the cobra is still directly ahead. But the snake is now moving behind her. The hidden exit is blocked by loose soil and a thin web of roots. The cobra presses forward until the earth begins to crumble. Slowly, its head appears on the far side of the mound. The honey badger continues digging, unaware that the direction of danger has changed. The cobra slides completely outside. It could escape into the grass. For several seconds, it begins to do exactly that. Then the wind changes. The honey badger catches the fresh scent behind her. She spins around. The cobra is caught in open ground. Neither animal has the advantage of concealment now. The snake rises immediately, spreads its hood, and faces the approaching mammal. The honey badger lowers her body, keeping her vulnerable eyes farther from the cobra's line of fire. She begins to circle. The cobra turns with her. The honey badger rushes forward, then stops before entering striking range. The snake reacts with a rapid defensive lunge, but its fangs close on empty air. The mammal has tested the distance. She now knows how far the cobra can reach. The honey badger advances again from another angle. The cobra sprays a second time. This attempt is less accurate. Most of the venom passes above the badger's lowered head and lands on the dust behind her. The snake has revealed its defense. The honey badger accelerates. She darts toward the cobra's side, forcing the snake to twist its body. Before she can reach the back of its head, the cobra turns and strikes. The badger leaps away. The fangs miss her muzzle by only centimeters. For several moments, the confrontation becomes a contest of speed. The honey badger attacks, retreats, and changes direction. The cobra follows every movement, preserving its head while searching for a chance to land a decisive bite. Neither can maintain this pace for long. The snake begins moving toward the grass, attempting to escape again. The honey badger blocks its path. The cobra turns toward the mound. The mammal stands between it and safety. Then a sudden sound interrupts the battle. From the darkness beyond the thorn trees comes the call of a black-backed jackal. The honey badger freezes. The cobra lowers its hood. The jackal calls again. Closer this time. The struggle has attracted another predator. Now, the snake and the honey badger face a new danger, but neither is willing to turn its back on the other. The cobra begins to retreat. The honey badger follows. Then the snake abruptly coils, launches forward, and drives its fangs into the loose skin near the badger's shoulder. The cobra's fangs pierce the loose skin near the honey badger's shoulder. The badger reacts instantly. She twists with astonishing force, rolling her body and throwing the snake against the hard ground. The cobra releases its grip before the mammal's jaws can close around its head. Both animals retreat. For several seconds, neither moves. The honey badger stands with her legs spread, breathing rapidly. Two small punctures are hidden beneath her thick fur. There is no dramatic wound and no immediate collapse, but the danger has already entered her body. The venom begins spreading through the tissue around the bite. Honey badgers are often described as immune to snake venom, but this is an exaggeration. Their thick skin can reduce the depth of some bites, and their bodies may tolerate certain toxins better than many other mammals. Yet a large dose can still weaken, paralyze, or kill them. This female has survived encounters with snakes before, but every bite is different. The cobra lowers its head and begins moving away. It has no reason to continue the fight. Its venom has created the opening it needed, and the tall grass is now only a short distance away. The honey badger takes one step after it, then her front leg bends. She catches herself before falling. The effects are beginning. Her muscles feel heavier, and her breathing becomes uneven. She shakes her body as though trying to throw off an invisible attacker, but the venom cannot be removed by force. The cobra reaches the edge of the grass. Behind the two animals, the jackal calls again. It is closer now. The snake enters the vegetation, disappearing among the dry stems. The honey badger remains beside the termite mound, struggling to keep her head raised. For the first time that night, the fearless hunter appears defeated. Her eyes slowly close. She lowers herself to the ground. Minutes pass. The savanna continues around her. An owl flies silently overhead. Insects resume their calls. The jackal approaches through the darkness, following the scent of the rat and the animals that fought over it. The honey badger does not move. The jackal emerges between two thorn trees. It stops when it sees the dark shape beside the mound. Jackals are opportunistic hunters. They survive by recognizing weakness, stealing meals, and investigating anything that may provide food. but they also understand the danger of approaching a honey badger too quickly. The jackal circles from a distance. It moves first toward the remains of the rat beneath the bush. The honey badger's ear twitches. The jackal freezes. The female's eyes open. She is still alive. The venom has weakened her, but it has not completely disabled her nervous system. Her tolerance, body size, and the shallow position of the bite may have prevented the cobra from delivering a fatal dose. Slowly, she rises. The jackal retreats several steps. The honey badger's movements are unsteady, but her aggression remains intact. She exposes her teeth and releases a low warning growl. The message is unmistakable. The jackal abandons the rat and disappears into the darkness. The badger turns toward the grass. The cobra's trail remains fresh. Continuing the pursuit is dangerous. She is injured, partly blinded in one eye and affected by venom. The sensible choice would be to take the rat and return to her cub, but the cobra has not escaped far. Inside the grass, the snake is also exhausted. It has sprayed venom twice, struck several times, and delivered a defensive bite. Producing venom is biologically expensive, and its reserves are no longer at full strength. The repeated confrontations have consumed energy the cobra needed for hunting and escape. It slows beneath a fallen branch. The snake pauses, sensing vibrations through the ground. The honey badger is following. She advances with her nose close to the earth. Her vision is unreliable, but the cobra's scent forms a clear path through the vegetation. The snake moves again. Ahead lies a rocky channel carved by seasonal rain. Between the stones are narrow gaps where the cobra could disappear beyond the reach of the badger's claws. It heads toward them. The honey badger follows at a slower pace. Each step requires more effort than the last. She stumbles against a root, recovers, and continues. Her body is fighting both exhaustion and the toxins circulating through her system. The cobra reaches the channel first. It slides between two stones, but the passage narrows sharply. Its body enters halfway before the snake discovers that the gap is blocked by packed soil. It cannot continue. The cobra reverses, emerging just as the honey badger reaches the channel. The two animals face each other once again. The cobra raises its body, but the hood opens less fully than before. Its movements are slower. The honey badger notices the weakness and begins circling. The snake launches a warning strike. The badger pulls back. A second strike follows, but this one falls short. The honey badger changes direction, forcing the cobra to turn across the uneven stones. The snake struggles to maintain its balance. The badger charges. The cobra strikes directly toward her face. At the final instant, she moves aside. The snake's head passes beside her shoulder. The honey badger turns and closes her jaws around the cobra's body, just behind the expanded hood. The snake twists violently and tries to free itself. But the badger does not yet have control of the head. The cobra bends its neck toward her exposed muzzle, preparing one final bite. The cobra bends toward the honey badger's face. Its mouth opens. But exhaustion has slowed the strike. The honey badger turns her head and tightens her grip just behind the snake's hood. The fangs pass beside her cheek, missing by only a few centimeters. The cobra twists with all the strength remaining in its body. Its tail strikes the stones, scattering dust across the dry channel. For several seconds, predator and prey roll together between the rocks. Then the honey badger changes position. Using her front paws, she forces the snake's body against the ground and moves her jaws closer to the back of its head. The cobra can no longer turn far enough to strike. The struggle begins to weaken. There is no cruelty in this moment. The honey badger is not fighting for revenge. She does not understand victory, punishment, or bravery. Her actions are controlled by hunger, danger, and the ancient instinct to survive long enough to protect her offspring. The cobra is guided by the same law. It has defended itself with every weapon evolution gave it. Camouflage, warning displays, speed, venom, and the ability to strike from a distance. But now its movements slow. The confrontation ends without spectacle. The cobra becomes still. The honey badger releases it and steps backward. For a moment, she stands above the motionless snake. Then her legs begin to tremble. The venom inside her body has not disappeared. Her resistance allowed her to continue fighting, but it did not make her invulnerable. The injury, the irritated eye, and the energy consumed during the battle have pushed her close to collapse. She lowers herself beside the stones. The night becomes quiet again. In the distance, the jackal returns. It does not approach immediately. Instead, it waits beyond the grass, watching for movement. The smell of the dead snake has entered the air, offering a meal to any scavenger patient enough to claim it. Above the channel, an owl settles on a low branch. The honey badger remains motionless. Minutes pass. The jackal steps closer. Then the female raises her head. Her breathing is slow, but steady. She places one paw beneath her body and tries to stand. The first attempt fails. On the second, she rises halfway before dropping back onto the ground. The jackal advances again. The honey badger releases a low growl. The sound is weak, but effective. The jackal stops. Even injured, a honey badger remains a dangerous opponent. The scavenger decides that the risk is greater than the reward and retreats into the darkness. The female tries once more. This time, she stands. Her body sways, but she remains upright. The cobra is too heavy to carry easily in her weakened condition. She grips it near the middle and begins dragging it across the stones. Each movement is slow. The den beneath the marula tree lies several kilometers away. Between the honey badger and her cub are open ground, thorn bushes and predators that may detect her weakness. But the night is beginning to end. A faint line of light appears on the eastern horizon. The female leaves the channel and follows the familiar scents leading home. Several times she stops to rest. The snake lies beside her while she breathes, recovers, and forces herself forward again. She passes the remains of the field rat beneath a thorn bush. For a moment, she pauses. The rat would be easier to carry, but it would provide far less food. She collects it as well, holding the smaller prey in her mouth while continuing to drag the cobra with her claws. The hunter that began the night searching for insects is now returning with enough food to sustain both herself and her cub. Yet the outcome cannot truly be called a simple victory. The cobra died defending its escape route. The honey badger survived, but she carries venom in her body and may remain weakened for hours. Had the bite penetrated more deeply, had the spray struck both eyes, or had the jackal arrived moments earlier, the result could have been entirely different. In the wild, survival is rarely determined by strength alone. Timing matters, experience matters, even the shape of a stone or a sudden change in the wind can decide which animal returns home and which becomes food for another. As dawn reaches the savanna, the female arrives beneath the marula tree. A small head appears at the burrow entrance. The cub recognizes its mother and moves toward her. The female drops the rat, then pulls the cobra into the shade beneath the roots. She lies down beside her offspring. For now, she has survived, but across the savanna, another cobra is leaving its shelter. Another predator is following a scent. Another unseen confrontation is already beginning. Nature offers no permanent champions. There are no heroes and no villains here. There are only animals adapting, defending, hunting, and enduring, one dangerous night at a time. And in the struggle between venom and resistance, the final difference was not fearlessness. It was one last movement made before strength disappeared. If this extraordinary battle for survival kept you watching until the end, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more powerful wildlife documentaries. And tell us in the comments, which animal impressed you more, the honey badger or the spitting cobra? Comment the word survival if you watched until the final moment.